So let us start off. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Namastu Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning, everyone.
Om Namah Shivaya.
So we are on the 22nd verse, right? Yeah. So let us chant the 22nd verse. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha.
Name Parthasti Kartavyam. Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. Anavaptamavaptavyam. Varta eva cha karmani. So the word breakups will be Name Partha Asti. So that word is broken. Name Partha Asti Kartavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. Then the large word. So Na Anavaptavyam Avaptavyam. So that Nanavaptavyam breaks into Na Anavaptavyam Avaptavyam Varta Eva Karmani Cha. And the Anvaya, the prose formation will be He Partha Me Trishu Lokeshu Na Kinchana Kartavyam Asti, comma. He Partha, comma. Me Trishu Lokeshu Na Kinchana Kartavyam Asti, comma. Na Avaptavyam Anavaptam, comma. Karmani Eva Cha Vartate. So, He Partha, He son of Pritha, He Arjuna, me, for me, Trishu Lokeshu, in all the three worlds, the earth, the sky, and all three worlds, whichever three worlds you look at, in all three worlds, Na Kinchana Kartavyam Asti. So, Kartavyam is duty, which means that which is to be done. The word Kartavyam is indicating something which is to be done. So, He Partha, Me Trishu Lokeshu Na Kinchana, there is nothing Kartavyam Asti, that remains to be done. So, He Partha, for me, in these three worlds, nothing is there that must be done. And Na Avaptavyam. So, you can add in brackets Na Kinchana. Na Kinchana Avaptavyam. Avaptavyam means to be gained, to be attained. So, nothing is there to be attained. Why? Anavaptavyam. Anavaptam. That has not been attained. So, nothing is there to be attained which has not been attained. And yet, evacha, and yet, karmani varte, I engage myself in action. Okay, so he's saying that there is nothing to be attained by me in all these three worlds because there is nothing yet to be attained. And still I remain in action. So we talked about in the last verse, Shreshtaha, right? Yadya charati Shreshtaha tat devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadu anuvartate. What was the topic in that verse, in the 21st verse?
That the people, the Shresht people set an example, a standard of behavior by their own behavior, and the way they behave, the people follow them.
Exactly. So the role model was being talked about, the Shreshtaha. And here Krishna is now referring to himself as the role model, right? So he says that, Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, me trishu lokeshu kartavyam na asti. I have no duty to perform in this world. Okay. Why is that so? So you have to remember all the teachings. The entire Karma Kanda talks about duties, actions, karma. And in the spiritual context, whatever karma we do, what is the objective?
Chitta Shuddhi.
Chitta Shuddhi, purity of mind, right? So if you connect that to this line, then it makes sense. When Krishna says that, Me Trishu Lokeshu Kartavyam Nasti, I have no duty to perform, no action to do in any of these three worlds. You have to supply, because, hey Arjuna, I am the Lord, I am Jnani. My mind does not need purification because I am ever pure. As the mind which is ever pure does not require any action to purify it, and therefore there is nothing that I have to accomplish through these actions. Trishu Lokeshu, in any of the three worlds, I need not accomplish anything. So, Nana Vaptav, Nana Avaptavyam Avtavyam. So there is no Purushartha which is not accomplished by me. All the dharma I have got, all the artha I have got, all the kama I have got, moksha also I have got. I don't have any purushartha to accomplish because by my very nature, all the purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, four purusharthas, all the purusharthas are part of my nature, right? He's saying I am ever infinite. That is why we have the word Bhagavan, right? So those who know Hindi, what does the suffix van, what does it indicate?
Endowed.
I have.
I have. So Dhanavan means somebody who has got Dhanam. So Bhagavan means somebody who has got Bhagaha. So Bhagaha here indicates a certain amount of wealth. So it is a possessor possessor of certain qualities and the possessor of full qualities. I mean, these qualities, whatever they are possessed in complete measure, in infinite measure. And therefore, there is a definition. I think we have discussed this definition before also. Aishwarasya samagrasya virasya yasasha shriyaha jnana vairagya yoshchaiva shananam bhaga itiranaha. Have we discussed this?
No.
This is the definition of Bhagavan. Why is it called Bhagavan? Aishwarasya samagrasya virasya yashasa shriyaha jnana vairagya yoshchaiva shananam bhaga itiranaha. Take the first one, Aishwarasya. Aishwarasya is Ishwarasya bhavaha, the attitude of being Ishvara. So Ishvara means what? Ruler. Ishwarasya bhavaha is Aishwarasya. The status of being the controller of everything, overlordship, that is called Aishwarasya. That is the first quality of Bhagavan. And after each of these, you have to add, he possesses that in full measure. What is the second one? Virasya. Virasya means courage. So Viram, courage, he possesses in full measure. Then, if you're looking at the word Samagrasya, Samagrasya means it is possessed in full measure. So Aishwarasya Samagrasya. It is infinite measure. He possesses all the quality. Samagrasya is not a quality, okay? Qualities are Aishwarasya, Virasya, Aishwarasya, Shriya, Jnana, Vairagya. And Samagrasya is an adjective to each one of these. So Aishwarasya Samagrasya, the Aishwaryam in full measure he possesses. Then Samagrasya Virasya, courage he possesses in full measure. Then Yashasya Yashasya samagrasya. Yasham is fame. He possesses fame in full measure. Shriya, samagrasya shriyaha. Prosperity in full measure. Jnanam, samagrasya jnanam in full measure. Vairagyam, samagrasya vairagyam in full measure. The independence, the freedom from all dependence is called vairagyam. So the word samagrasya is a very important qualifying adjective. It indicates in full measure, in abundance, these qualities should be there, right? So if I have only 100 rupees in my account, it cannot be called bhaga, all the wealth. So if I am a employer, if I employ a driver, my power over the driver is of course under my power because I pay him, right? That is not bhaga. So bhaga has to be absolute overlordship, absolute courage, absolute fame. That's why samagrasya. It is in absolute terms. There is nothing more than that. So put together, this is called bhagaha. And therefore, Bhagavan is the one who has all these bhagas in complete measure, in samagras. And what this kind of a Bhagavan, what does he have to accomplish in this world? So Krishna says, anavaptam avaptavyam nasti. There is nothing to be accomplished by me. I have no sadhana to be accomplished. No karma yoga, no upasana yoga, no jnana yoga. Nothing needs to be done. I don't have to do anything. And why is this so? Na anavaptam. So anavaptam means that which remains to be done or remains to be achieved. Na anavaptam is very important. Nothing remains to be accomplished. Why? Because any activity is a sadhana. I mean, using Sanskrit words, I hope you understand. Any activity is a sadhana only where there is a corresponding sadhyam. Right? So all very important mananam questions. You clearly have to understand what does this mean. What is a sadhyam? A sadhyam is what is achieved through a sadhana. It is the objective. A sadhana achieves a particular sadhyam, right? So if I've got fever and I am taking, say, paracetamol, what is the sadhana and what is the sadhyam?
Sadhana is taking paracetamol, sadhyam is getting better, getting well, getting rid of it.
Getting to the fever, right? So that must be clear. And therefore, here a mananam question is, when does, see, na anavaptam means nothing remains to be accomplished. Anavaptam means that which remains to be accomplished. Okay. Now here, one question which we can ask, in all these verses you can just run through, or you can use it as a measure of trying to get into the verse in depth and trying to figure out what Krishna actually meant. So the question here can be that when does something which I don't have become a goal for me, become a sadhyam for me, right? When does something become a sadhyam for me? Does it become a sadhyam because I do not possess that? So that is the meaning, na anavaptam. When Krishna says na anavaptam, he means which I have not accomplished. And therefore, the question to ask is, what does he mean by that? Whatever you do not have, does it become a sadhyam for you?
No, only when you value it.
Only when you value it, right? So because in this world, there are so many things which I do not possess. I don't have the Taj Mahal, for example. I don't have the Qutub Minar. Is there a sadhyam for me? No. And that is why Krishna adds avaptavyam. So there are three words. Na anavaptam, that which I do not possess. Avaptavyam, that which I desire. So you have to add them both. Na anavaptam avaptavyam. The combination of these three words indicate that which I do not have, but which I desire. Okay, so only any purushartha, remember, any purushartha, any objective in my life has to fulfill these two conditions. One is I must not have it already, and two is I should want it, I should desire it. So this purushartha has to fulfill these two conditions. Now, how can a jnani make this statement? Because Krishna is a jnani. How is he saying that na anavaptam avaptavyam? There is nothing which I have, nothing which I do not have, which I desire. That's what he means. Na anavaptam. There is nothing which I have to accomplish or I have to possess. Avaptavyam, which I want, which I desire. And Krishna is a jnani. How is he making this statement? So this is possible only when you are in binary format. What is binary format?
Binary format is that Ishvara self and Ishvara.
Ishvara and Jagat.
Ishvara and Jagat. So very carefully understand what is binary format. It is Ishvara and Jagat. There was some confusion in this in the group also. Jiva is not there. Okay. Jiva is not there in the binary format. If you add Jiva, it becomes Jiva, Ishvara, and Jagat. That becomes the triangular format.
Right.
You have three things: Jiva, Ishvara. Triangular format means the Jiva is different from Ishvara. Ishvara is different from Jagat. Ishvara is the creator of Jagat. And Jiva is different from Ishvara. Jiva is living in the Jagat. That is what we call the Ajnani format, the triangular format, because they've got three things. In the binary format, what has happened? The Jiva knows that he is not different from Ishvara. Right? So when Jiva knows he is not different from Ishvara, Jiva vanishes. Only Ishvara is left. And Ishvara and Jagat is left. Of course, you can ask a question again here. What is that question? When you are saying binary format, how is it Advaitam? Because there are two things. What is the answer?
This is in the Vyavharik context, not at the Paramarthika level.
No. That is, you have to reword that. It's more or less a right answer, but you have to reword that to make it very clear. How do I say that binary format is Advaitam? Because binary means two.
Because the Jagat is Mithya and Mithya is not, you cannot say it is really there, a second thing.
Very good, Meda. So that's the answer, right? Binary format is not really binary. It is non-dual only. Why? Because one is Satyam, that is Ishvara, me, and Jagat is Mithya. Now, if both were Satyam, if Ishvara was Satyam and Jagat was Satyam, that binary format would be really binary. It would not be Advaitam at all. It would be Dvaitam. So that clarity we must have. Without that clarity, this definition of binary and triangular is going to get us into trouble. So here, Krishna is saying this because he is in binary format. In a triangular format, Jiva Jagat Ishvara, you can never make a statement that there is nothing which I have, which I do not want. Which I want. There is nothing which I do not have, which I want. That statement can never be made from the Ajnani's point of view. And because there is nothing which you want, see, remember that any karma has to have a corresponding karma phalam. Therefore, any sadhana has to have a sadhyam. Now, when the sadhyam itself is not there, the question is the sadhana a karma? Sadhana doesn't become a karma because karma has to necessarily have the karma phalam. And if he doesn't really want anything, then why is he doing any action? Because actions normally, are done when you have a karma phalam happening. Now, since karma phalam is not there, we call this karma by a different name. We call it karma abhasa. The jnani's karma is not called karma. It is karma abhasa. Abhasa means as if, seemingly. So it is seemingly karma. So Krishna is saying basically that I'm not doing any real karma. It is all seemingly karma because there is no karma phalam accruing to me. And yet, therefore it says, evacha, yet, varta karmani. I am continuing to do what I do. And this can be applied to all of us. So if you are a jnani, if after all these classes you become a jnani, Krishna is saying that you should continue to do your karma as per your varna and your ashrama. So if you are a kshatriya, you should continue to do kshatriya. If you are a grahastha, you should do what all the grahasthas do. And that is why I am continuing to do. So, hey Arjuna, even though I am a jnani, even though I am Ishvara himself, I cannot escape from my duty because I have a role model. I am a role model. I have to show people how to behave. And therefore, Arjuna, you are not a jnani, but even if you were a jnani, how can you try to escape your duty? So that is the text of this. Arjuna is being told, Arjuna, that even I, as Ishvara, am continuing to work, even though I have nothing to gain from my work because I am a jnani. I do only karma abhasa. But I know it is karma abhasa. The rest of the world doesn't know. The rest of the world thinks it is karma. So they will do what I do. They will follow me. And therefore it is important, Arjuna, that you as a leading Pandava, you are also a role model. You also need to do what you are supposed to do. You are a warrior. You need to fight. Okay. So we look at verse number 23 now. So we'll chant. And this is a continuation. He is justifying it again. Yadi hayam navarteyam jatu karmanyatandritah mama vartamanu vartante
Mama
manushyaः partha sarvashah. Okay. So yadi, hyayam is he plus aham. Yadi hi aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandritah. So karmani atandritah, that yata is basically to be broken into karmani ni plus a. So karmani atandritah mama vartama anuvartante. So mama vartama anuvartante manushyaha sarvashaha partha. And Anvaya is he partha. Yadi hi aham atandritah karmani jatu navarteyam. Yadi he partha, yadi hi aham atandrita karmani jatu navarteyam kama manushyaha mama vartamaha sarvashaha anuvartante. Manushyaha mama vartama sarvashaha anuvartante. So hey Partha, hey son of Pritha, hey Arjuna, yadi hi aham. So he has taken as indeed or also. Yadi hi, if indeed, aham karmani atandritah. Atandritah is without being tired. Yadi hi aham atandritah karmani jatu navarteyam. If I were not to engage in action tirelessly, without being tired, if I were not constantly to engage in action. So yadi hi aham atandritah karmani jatu navarteyam. If I were not constantly to engage in action tirelessly, what would happen? Manushyaha, all the people, anuvartante, would follow me. Mama vartama, my actions, my path, which I am showing, sarvashaha, in all possible ways. Very important point here, Arjuna. If I do not constantly and tirelessly remain in action, whatever I do would be imitated by people in all ways. Sarvashaha. So, yadi hayam na varteyam, supposing I do not perform my duties. How? Atendritaha, tirelessly. Then jatu, all the time. Therefore, if I do not at all times tirelessly perform my duties, each adjective is very important. Mama vartamanu vartante, mama vartama anuvartante. The entire set of people, the whole society, they will be doing what I am doing or not doing, right? For example, that's very important for people who are parents because the children are always watching you. So you've got advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is what? That all the time you have to watch what you're doing because your actions are being followed by your children. You have to be responsible, you have to be alert, you have to be aware that you don't do anything which can be misinterpreted. What is the advantage? You can teach proper action to your children by doing just action. Nothing else is required. Right? Similarly, for teachers also. Teachers, that is why they say teacher should follow what he has taught. And that is why Krishna says here that Mama Vartamanu Vartante Manushyaha Parthaha Sarvashaha. And what is the purpose? He has already mentioned. He has nothing to gain. So for Loka Sangraham alone, for the good of the world, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. And for those of you who remember Sanskrit Anvaya Vatireka argument, this verse is in that form. If I do this, I will serve as a role model. If I don't do this, others will think that what I am not doing is not to be done. It's a waste of time. The idea is that whoever is in a position to influence somebody else, whoever is in a position to become a role model, by virtue of that very position, Shastra says he has responsibility to be a good role model. Okay, that is the advice of Shastra. Now, what if a role model does not follow the advice? What is the consequence of a role model not following the advice? That will be given in sloka number 24, which we will chant. So please unmute yourself. Utsideyurime lokaha
Utsideyurime
lokaha
nakuryam karma chedaham
nakuryam karma chedaham
angarasya cha kartasyam
sangarasya kartasyam
upanyami maaf prajaha. Okay, so we look at the grammar first. Utsideyuhu. So that breakup is there. The first word. Utsideyu with a visarga. The ra is dropped. So Utsideyu ime loka. Nakuryam karma chet aham. Sangarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam. The ma has a halat. Upahanyam imaha prajaha. And the prose formation anvaya will be chet aham karmana kuryam. Chet aham karmana kuryam ime lokaha utsideyuhu full stop sangarasya kartasyam kama imaha prajaha cha upahanyam. So chet aham, if I. Karmana kuryam were not to perform actions, were not to perform karma. What is the result? Ime lokaha utsideyuhu. So utsideyuhu means perish, get destroyed. Lokaha here can be taken as people, not the words. So chet aham karmana kuryam. Supposing I were not to perform the actions which I am required to perform, then ime lokaha utsideyuhu, these people would perish. And how would they perish? That is being explained. Karta syam, I would become the karta, the doer, the author of what? Sangarasya. So Sankaraha has been talked about in an earlier chapter. Do you remember?
Yes, Varna Sankara.
Yes, social confusion. Sangarasya kartasyam. I would create social confusion, and because of that social confusion, imaha prajaha upahanyam. I would destroy these people. So very, very beautifully written verse. So he's saying that I would be the author of confusion, and because of that confusion, these people would be destroyed. What confusion? Social confusion. And you have to remember the discussion in chapter 1. So Krishna says, if I violate my social duties, my swadharma, which we can take as Panchamahayagnya. So, because that is a duty for all grihasthas. And if I violate those duties, if I don't do those duties, what will happen? Other people will think that it is all right to violate Swadharma also, because I am the role model. I am not carrying out my duties. And other people will also begin to omit doing their duties. And the consequences will not be felt immediately. Right? That is what he means. He's saying that because of the confusion, and that confusion doesn't come immediately. So the result of not doing this for dharma is not going to happen immediately. It's like, you have a tree in front of your house, and let's say the whole bunch of bungalows are there, independent houses are there, which have trees in their front. So one person cuts the tree. Is there any immediate negative result felt? No. Then another person cuts. Then a third person cuts. And soon you find that there are no trees left. There's a big, Maidan over there, big ground is there. Some builder comes and says, why don't you sell me these bungalows, and I will build flats over there, and I'll give you 2 flats instead of your bungalow. So slowly you will find that the entire portion, that entire greenery is gone. Flats have come. Population of trees vanish. Populations of humans increase. Populations of cars increase. You are destroying the environment. The consequence is not going to be felt immediately. Actually, you are destroying the very Srishti itself. And Krishna says the very first person who violated the dharma, who cut the tree, he has to bear primary responsibility. Therefore, he says, Ime lokaha utsideyuhu. All these people will perish. Maybe not immediately, but they will ultimately perish. And what is the cause? Aham karmana kuryam chet. If I have not done my duty, if I have not, done my certain example as a role model, then I will destroy them. Sangarasya kartasyam, by creating confusion in society with regard to their duties. So, if you remember chapter 1, Sankaraha here means Varna Sankaraha, Ashrama Sankaraha. Varna Sankaraha, what are the duties with regarding to my Varna? As a Brahmachari, Ashrama, as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya. So if you take Varna Sankara, it is duties as a Brahmana, duty as Kshatriya, duty as a Vaishya, duty as a Shudra. Each of these Varnas had certain duties. I will be confused. And if you take it as Ashrama Sankaraha, as a Brahmachari, what duty do I have? As a Grahastha, what duty do you have? As a Vanaprastha, what duty do you have? As a Sannyasi, what duty you have? So all that confusion will be there. People will do just what they want. Universal harmony will be disturbed. Ecology will be disturbed. This is the net result of my not serving as a role model. And Shankara, in his commentary here on this verse, he reminds us of verse number 16 of this particular chapter itself. Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartaya tihaya. If you, that circle, that wheel of life is disturbed, all the actions necessary to sustain the environment will be given up. So you have to look at the verses from number 13 to 16, where they talk about those 4 verses. You have to read again and apply here. All those actions will be given up. Why? All because the Shrestha, the role model, abandoned his duty. And therefore Krishna says that by creating confusion in society, this will happen. Okay. Now Krishna does not elaborate on the result of the confusion over here. He just says Sangarasya kartasya, upahanyama. Normally he would elaborate, but he doesn't elaborate. And strangely enough, in his commentary, normally when there is something which requires elaboration, Shankara goes to great lengths. The Bhashakara, the commentator Shankara, goes to great lengths. But here Shankara does not touch the subject at all. He doesn't offer any comments. Why? It's very important feature. Why has Shankara not offered any comments on how the destruction takes place? He says, "Na, aham upahanya, I will destroy these people. I will have destroyed these people." And Shankara should have commented in what way the destruction will occur. But Shankara does not comment. What can you think is the reason?
Because he already explained, Krishna already explained that in previous verses. And
Elaborated in 13 to 16 already.
No.
like, as karma palam.
Because
No.
it is an Atma.
I think he expects that it is to be known by now.
How?
So no,
How is it known?
by reaching this level.
No. Arjuna has explained in great detail. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo bhivo. You remember all that? Chapter 1, the last few verses. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitro hesham lupta pindo kriyaha. Don't forget all those verses. All the verses in chapter 1 from verse number 39 to verse number 44. Arjuna has already explained. And therefore Shankara does not comment, because this Bhagavad Gita itself explains in Arjuna's words. So all these connections you have to make. No, even though we think chapter 1 is, more or less a story and nothing very Vedantic is there, now you know why background is there. Arjuna has explained what is the result of a person not doing his role properly, right? All that has been explained. And therefore Shankara doesn't offer an explanation. And Shankara adds a few words only. He says, after the words, Ima prajaha aham upanyaha, Krishna is saying that because of the fact that I have not done my duty as a role model, I will be the cause of the destruction of these people. And Shankara adds over here, and that would not be appropriate for me, who is Easwara. Why is that? Now, Shankara quotes, but then of course we have not yet reached the topic. Shankara says, Yada yadahe dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. We have not come to that. That's the next chapter. Basically, it means that as Easwara, I came here, yada yadahe dharmasya, for rescuing the world, for making sure that dharma is not taken away from the world, for re-establishing dharma. That is the reason for my being here as an avatar. And therefore, if I don't do my job as a role model, then I am doing that which is against my dharma, because I came here for a particular purpose. And so Shankara says that is not appropriate for me because I have a duty to do as this avatar. Okay. All right. We'll take a small break. Anybody has any questions?
Acharya-ji?
Yeah.
It's a very simple question, but I was wondering, why does Krishna calls Arjuna Partha?
Bharata has two meanings. One is son of Bharat. Bharat is another name for India. Or in that context, Bharata is the race. The Bharata race, the Pandavas and Kauravas, they belong to the Bharata dynasty. So Bharata means, who is there in the Bharata dynasty, one of the dynasty, people of the dynasty.
Thank you.
Okay. So now let us go to verse number 25. We will chant.
I wanted to ask, sir,
Yes, please.
that the teaching by example or the parenting tip that you said for the verse number 23. So, by now we've already done the mistakes. I mean, I've already done the mistakes. I've probably set a wrong example already. So how do we correct that?
How do we correct that? Well, you have to do, see, certain amount of damage has been done. You can, if the child is old enough, you have to be honest and explain that this was not what I should have done. If the child is not old enough, then no damage is done because you can set the example henceforth.
Okay, thank you.
It requires a lot of courage to be able to tell your child that I made a mistake.
No, that we do. We talk about things, and I keep talking to them that I'm also learning in the process, and I may make some mistakes while I'm, I'm.
That is fine.
being
You
a
will find the
parent.
children are very forgiving. No problem.
Right. Thank you, Acharya.
Welcome. Okay.
So is there anything, any validity of pratyavaya papam here, that you've already, by not following your duty or not doing what you should be doing, you've done? So prashchit karma can be take.
See, pratyavaya papam, I don't know if you remember the discussion. What is the meaning of pratyavaya papam?
Not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you.
Do you remember a discussion? I don't know if you had the discussion. Okay, so let me just, since you raised the topic. Pratyavaya papam, anybody wants to define what it is?
By not doing what you are supposed to do, the
Papam because of act of omission.
Yes, the pratyavaya papam is defined as papam because of act of omission. Okay. Now, elsewhere, I don't know if I've discussed this with you, so I'm just, pointing it out here. When does the karma phalam occur?
When you
When a karma-
intention.
No, I mean, let's come to the first answer. For a karma phalam to be generated, what is the essential condition?
Karma has to be done.
Karma has to be done.
Intention with which it is done.
Karma has to be done. Now you are saying that I have not done something. No karma has done. I have omitted to do something. No karma has been done. How can the act of not doing something be the generator of something else?
It highlights.
So
It
that's
It is
not generating papam, it is revealing.
revealing.
Yes, I think we've had the discussion. Right?
Yes,
That
sir.
discussion, do not forget. Pratyavaya papam means because you are not doing the karma, the what you call fresh karma which is being generated, which would have negated the other karma, is not occurring. And therefore, this particular omission of karma is not a generator of papam, it is a revealer of accumulated papam. That discussion always remember, because normally whenever we say pratyavaya papam, everywhere we will say that Pratyavaya papam is because papam generated because of omission. But whenever that comment is made, you must remember this discussion. Shankaracharya has made it very, very clear that without karma, there can be no karma phalam. And therefore, I must remember that this is an act of revelation, not of generation. Just like supposing you don't clean your house for 1 week, then there is dust, right? So what do we say? We say the dust has come because you have not cleaned the house. That statement is made, correct? But is there any direct connection between not cleaning and dust being there? No. The dust is accumulated. Your daily cleaning would have removed the dust. The distinction is subtle. The daily cleaning would have removed the dust, and therefore not doing the daily cleaning reveals actually what? The accumulation of the dust. It has not created the dust. The dust is accumulated because of non-cleaning. Therefore, whenever we say Pratyavaya Papam, remember it is the revelation of accumulated Papam and not the generation of accumulated Papam. That clarity should be there. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Om Acharya,
Yes,
with respect to this, I have another question. So
Yeah.
for a Gyani, what is the role of Pratyavaya Papam at that point of time?
Jnani,
There is no karma.
Yes,
For a
there is no
Jnani-
karma, so there is no Pratyavaya
Jnani
Papam.
means what? A Jnani means a person who considers himself as the OC, not the RC.
Yes,
OC is karta or akarta,
Akarta.
Akarta.
and therefore Jnani has no karma. When there is no karma, there is no papam, no karma phalam at all.
So Pratyavaya Papam does not apply to him also then.
He is akarta, he is abhokta.
Right, I get it.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Okay, now we have a few minutes, so let us see if we can finish this next verse. Sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata
यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत
kuryat vidvams tatha saktaha chikirshur loka sangraham.
संग्रहम्
So all big words. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha. Saktaha karmani avidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat. So that breakup there is important. Kuryat vidvan tatha asaktaha chikirshu loka sangraham. So since the big words are there, I am repeating again. Sakta karmani avidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat vidvan tatha asaktaha chikirshu loka sangraham. He Bharata, karmani saktaha avidvamsaha yatha kurvanti, kama loka sangraham chikirshu asaktaha vidvan tatha kuryat. So there are two relative pronouns, yatha and tatha. So he says yatha, just as avidvamsaha, the ajnani, karmani sakta kurvanti. So the karmani sakta is defining avidvamsaha, the ajnani who is karmani saktaha, who is bound to the results of his action. Kurvanti, he continuously engages in action. Similarly what? Vidwan, the jnani, Tatha kuryat also engages in action, but asaktaha, he is not attached to the results of his action, and loka sangraham chikirshu. Chikirshu is a special word meaning desirous of. So desiring loka sangraham, desiring the welfare of others. So what is being said? This avidwan, the ajnani, why is he ajnani? Because karmani saktaha, he is attached to the results of his action. So yatha avidvamsa karma kurvanti, just as the ajnani keeps on doing action, tatha similarly vidvan kuryat, vidvan also keeps on doing action, right? What is being emphasized is that karma is being done by the ajnani as well as the jnani, but the objectives are different. The ajnani is doing because he is attached to the results of his action and he wants the results. The jnani is doing not attached to the results of the action. His only objective is loka sangraha, desirous of loka sangraha. So here again Bharata. So this is what June asked. What is the meaning of Bharata? Bharata has two meanings. One is one born in the dynasty, Bharata dynasty, in the race of the Bharatas. And that is why India is called Bharat. One of the reasons why India is called Bharat is because of this association Mahabharata, right? The other is more important, Vedantic meaning. So Bharata can be broken into three words, Bha, Ra and Ta. So Bha stands for Brahma Vidya. Bha is basically from the intellect. So Bha is Brahma Vidya, and Ra stands for Ramate, enjoying, and Ta Tasyam, that Brahma Vidya. So Tasyam Brahma Vidya Ramate iti Bharataha. The one who enjoys, who revels in Brahma Vidya, he is Bharata. Two meanings are there. But here, of course, Arjuna is not a vidwan, so the question of him being, reveling in Brahma Vidya does not arise. Here we can take it as one born in the race of Bharata. It's important to remember the other definition. The one who enjoys Brahma Vidya is a Bharata. So all of you, because you are coming regularly to class, all of you are Bharatas only. So here Krishna is saying how to understand action. Action is always result oriented. But nobody does an action without anticipating a result. Whenever you do a karma, the purpose of the karma is clearly known. That we must be very clear. I am always very clear where I do karma, where I do something. So whenever you say, without being attached, you must understand that that refers only to the result. So the purpose is always known. Nobody does any karma without knowing why he is doing it. What is not known is whether the purpose will be achieved. The success or failure of that karma is not known, but the purpose is always known. And Krishna is saying that the jnani, the vidwan, should perform actions with as much sincerity, with as much enthusiasm as the avidwan, the ajnani. The results are different. The ajnani performs for material result. And he has heartburn, he has anxiety, he has blood pressure. But the jnani, he performs activity for the benefit of the world. And he has neither heartburn, nor anxiety, nor blood pressure. So ajnani should do karma. Jnani should also do karma. Ajnani can do karma. A karma yogi can do karma to get purity, to get chitta shuddhi, and then come to jnana. Well, when jnani performs karma, it is not for purity, it is not for moksha, it is not for knowledge, because jnani has got purity, jnani has got jnanam, jnani has got moksha. Then what is the reason for that jnani to do? He, number one, I already said, you have to serve as a role model. Serving as a role model, he should do karma. Number two, he does karma because he has nothing more to gain. He's already got moksha. So he does karma for ensuring the benefit of society, for telling the people that whatever I do will be a benefit to you also. So when Ajnani is doing karma, he has not got moksha. He is not happy with himself. He is in bondage, which means he is incomplete. He has self-dissatisfaction. Therefore, he is performing actions for happiness. Very important to remember. And Ajnani performs karma with the hope of gaining happiness. And therefore, it is for Purnatvam. I want to be happier. Therefore, I have an expectation, I have attachment, I have dependence. It's a good yardstick to look at ourselves. If I am doing something expecting that I will be happy out of the result, then I have forgotten my Vedanta. I am doing it as an Ajnani. While when a Jnani performs actions, by definition, he is one who is Purnam, complete. He doesn't need anything. And therefore, that person is not performing for happiness. He is performing because of happiness. He is already happy. And any karma that a Jnani does is an expression of his happiness. So he is Aham Purnaha, Aham Amritaha. I am Purnaha, I am eternal. I don't require any external support to complete me. The sense of fulfillment is there in the Jnani. He does action always as an expression of his happiness. So remember that whenever I act with the expectation of happiness, that karma is a struggle. Life will be a struggle. Life will be samsara only. So, SPG says MBBS, meaningless, boring, burdensome struggle. That is the definition of samsara according to MBBS. Okay. And when I do action with happiness, from happiness, as an expression of my happiness, then in Sanskrit we say that is a leela. It's a game. So Jnani's every action is leela. Ajnani's every action drag. This is a drag. It's a burden. So when a karma yogi becomes a Jnani, he is a grahastha Jnani. He cannot drop karma because why? Because he's grahastha. But he has lost kartrutvam. The doership he has lost. And therefore, that's why I said he is no longer capable of doing karma. Whatever karma he does is called karma abhasa. When there is karma abhasa, there is no karma phalam. And therefore, the Jnani's karma produces no benefit for him. It is for loka sangraha only. And this shift can occur. If you look at the way the Jnani and the Ajnani do action, the shifting from the Ajnani bhavana, Ajnani attitude to the Jnani attitude, it involves three things. As a Ajnani, I am a sadhaka. As a Jnani, I am not a sadhaka. So the first shift is from the mental framework that I am sadhaka to I am not sadhaka. And therefore, the second thing is from I am doing sadhana to I am not doing any sadhana. And the third thing is from I need moksha to I don't need moksha. I am already nitya muktaha. So I am not a sadhaka and therefore I am not doing sadhana. And therefore, where is the question of any sadhyam? I don't need anything. This is called traya bhavana nivrittihi, freedom from the three attitudes of a Ajnani. The Ajnani always does, I am a sadhaka, I am doing sadhana for moksha. That thing has to be made topsy-turvy, removed completely. Krishna is not saying that as a grahastha, you should stop your pujas and your parayanam. Don't do all those things, go to temples. But they are now for loka sangraham only. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha. And therefore he says, avidvamsaha karmana sakta kurvanti. The Ajnani does action for his own benefit. If he is a karma yogi, he should do it for chitta shuddhi. But the jnani, he has nothing to gain. He has got chitta shuddhi, he has got moksha. So his only reason for doing action, there are two reasons. One is he has to serve as a role model, and number two, he hopes that he is bettering the life of other people, of society in general. So with this, we will stop. Any questions you can take.
Raviji, you said Traya Bhavana.
Yeah. 3 attitudes.
Vratti.
Nivritti. Nivritti is freedom from.
Nivrit. Yeah, right.
The 3 bhavanas. One is I am a sadhaka.
I am a sadhaka. I am doing sadhana. And I am doing the sadhana for moksha. So 3 attitudes. So the jnani reverses there and says, I am not a sadhaka, therefore I am not doing any sadhana because I am already jivan mukta.
Sir, how we can put it in like in a practical life? Like we are doing puja, we are doing sadhana.
Yes.
But still.
So you have to ask yourself, do I go to Bhagavan when I have a problem? If you do, you are a sadhaka.
Okay. But even like I don't have any problem, I'm going, but I'm asking, let there be peace everywhere, let there be.
No. When you are not having a problem, everything is hunky-dory. That is not the way to judge. What happens when you have a problem? Do you run to the temple? If two of you do, then you are a sadhaka, you are a ajnani, you are a Vedantic student, that is good. But you have not yet understood that there are no problems. Because
so we need to keep reinforcing it again.
You have discipline means more shravanam, more maranam, more nididhyasanam. And take it from me, as this progresses, sooner or later, you will start feeling the detachment that these problems are not worthwhile bothering about. That is the first stage. When you start to feel that, yes, problems will be there, and I will deal with them because I have the courage. That's the stages. Slowly, you will come to a stage where you will say that problems are going to be there because that is the prarabdha karma. And therefore, they when you say that, okay, problems are going to be there because the body is there, body is prarabdha karma. That day is.
So these both the thoughts come to me. I don't know where I am.
Right now you don't.
But even I, go back to asking also for help.
It takes time, okay? It takes time. It's not that it's very easy. You are young.
Yeah.
You've got small kids.
So that's why I'm asking, like we keep to reinforce it on ourselves and keep
Keep on reinforcing it. See, remember that nididhyasanam, even the stage of being jnani, is for you, right? Yeah. Even once you are jivan mukta, there is no need to go and tell your husband I am jivan mukta, okay?
Of course. He will not get it.
So that's the whole idea. You have not to tell anybody. Keep it to yourself.
Okay.
Sir, one question.
Yeah, right.
A few classes back, we discussed that Nitya Naimittika karma will neutralize the papam.
Yes.
And does it mean it neutralizes the papa that is generated out of agami only, or does it affect prarabdha as well?
Prarabdha also.
Prarabdha.
See, it's like, you got fresh. Every karma, every Nitya Naimittika karma will generate fresh karma, punyam. So right. In the punyam can act in 2 ways. Either it can give you the strength to bear whatever problem is coming, or it can dilute the effect also.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so with this, we'll stop. Thank you very much for your patience. Om Purnamadav पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णम् एवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day,
Thank you,
guys.
sir.
Om Namah
Thank you,
Shivaya.
sir.